Okay, okay. Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome, well, morning, wherever you are. Welcome to this general meeting of Digital Life Collective. I think what we normally do is a quick sort of check-in round so that everyone gets a chance to say hi and give us a sort of 15-second update of what's interesting you at the moment, what you're up to. So, and then once you've done that, you then nominate the next person to do the same thing. In that way, we'll cover all the ground. So if I kick off, so I'm Graham, I'm the chair of the collective at the moment, and I've been really busy. I'm working on a project at the moment, doing some interesting stuff with local sustainable food producers, which is fun. We're trying to build some build a sort of a platform app to support them. So that's what I'm sort of getting my head into at the moment, which is great. So I'm going to pass across now to Mike. Mike Dewey, is that how I pronounce your name, Mike? Yeah. There you go. Mike.
Yes, hey, Mike Dewey here. I'm in a loud coffee shop, so I'm going to, after the introduction, I'll just listen if you don't mind. Yeah, so I've been working on a sustainable initiatives. I went ahead and looked at the slide deck, so some interesting things on there I can reach out to people about stuff I'm working on. So a lot of synergy there. I know there's a lot of projects going on all over the place on these type of initiatives. So I guess the bigger question would be how do you get everybody on the same platform? That's more of an efficient way of doing things. So I think you guys are on the right track. How about Rui?
Over to you, Rui. Thanks, Mike.
Yep.
Thank you, Mike. Hi, everyone. Well, I'm kind of the master lurker in Digital Life Collective. I've done not much besides reading a lot, and it's kind of a coincidence that this just arrived. I'm not sure if you can.
All right.
Yeah. So I saw it in the presentation that working agenda shared. So as soon as I finish the other things I have on the queue, I will go to this one. So not much to say besides a lot of farming and forestry. I'll pass on to Steve. Thank you.
Thanks, Rui. I'm Steve. Sorry, I've been trying to track everyone's name as you've been joining and putting it into the doc. So being called on to introduce myself is a little bit hard. Luckily, up to this point, we don't have anyone with the same name, but we've got a Michael and a Mike. So you can have a look at the notes, which I put in the chat, if you want to see who has spoken so far. I'll hand over to David.
David Ng in Toronto. Actually been underwater for quite a few months now. I'm doing a data science certificate program at Ryerson University, so I'm heads down being a student again. And Robert's nearby.
Oh, can you hear me? Yeah, I'm also nearby in Toronto. I would say I've also been a long-time lurker / learner, also playing and experimenting in different ways in the space. Recently, yeah, my attention has been on a currency design workshop I'm helping to run, and also trying to find sort of local community here in Toronto to be working a little less digital all the time and remote only. So I think I came in a little late, so I don't know who's gone, but I'll try passing to Jim.
Hey, I'm excited to see everyone here, or lurkers. I mean, there's so much happening in the collective. It's great. I've been developing contracts on our chain, and I'm happy to see this great stuff happening in the mapping and different areas of the collective, and a new effort DAO Alliance, where we're really reaching out to collaborate at scale with all the groups that want to save the world. It's just exciting to have be around so many great people here in Big Lake and around. And I will choose Roland, Joachim.
Thanks, Jim. Hey, Joachim here in Brooklyn, New York. Great coming together here for AGM and looking forward to a lot of work. The summer has been a bit quiet here, but there has been a wave of activity now towards autumn and hopefully the remainder of the year. So that's great. I've been traveling in China during the summer. I was in a province called Guizhou province, really cool province. If you've seen the movie Avatar, you know, where these floating rocks and these waterfalls coming down, that's how it looks like. Really incredible landscape there. So as Jim said, we'll talk about the DAO Alliance too here in our GM, and looking forward to keep everyone up to date here. Thank you. All right, let me hand it over to Stacy. Oh, you're still muted.
Now?
Good, good.
Okay. I also consider myself a learner, and I've been just trying to pay attention to what different people are working on and looking to where I might be able to contribute my soft skills.
Pass it along.
Oh, I'm sorry. To you, Christina.
I'm very excited about what's happening in the collective. I got to go punting on the cam thanks to Steve, and actually got to meet Philip and Steve in person, which was amazing. And hi, everybody. Oh, I'll give it to Gary.
Thank you, Christina. My name is Gary Coulter, and I'm in Fort Worth, Texas. I consider myself a social ledger operative, and I'm going to be working as a guide in the DAO Alliance. I'm really excited about that. I think there's some possibility there. The other project you should know about is the Art on the Blockchain project, which is also tied to Dig Life and Archain and Keybase. So if that's of interest to you, contact me, and I'll pass it to who hasn't talked. Kiala.
Right. Thanks, Gary. I'm calling in from Southeast Portland, just down the river from Christina and where my base is up that way. A lot of work around the glocal, bringing the local to the global, and that's a lot of focus that way. Alliances, network weaving, those are a lot of what I'm engaged in. Excited about what's going on in the collective lately, and I will toss it over to Michael.
Thank you. I'm on west coast of Canada, Vancouver Island. We just had a glorious federal election, and what do you know? The government still got in. No change, no change. If we're going to change anything, how now with the DAO? Let's move. Thank you. I think it's everybody's talk now, haven't they?
I think John Grant,
John Grant.
Magnificent, is there, and I can sweep up behind.
Folks, just here to catch up. Good to see everybody.
Is that it, John?
Great, so nice and quick.
Well, I'll try and meet that brevity. As you hear, I'm in a cafe, so I apologise for the background noise. I've just been at the Redecentralised 2019 conference here in London. Wonderful bunch of people, including some of the Holochain chaps, and yeah, all good this end. Delighted to be working in perhaps the most tricky, pervasive, slippery part of the entire future of our digital age, which is identity. So if anyone wants to find out more about that, please give me a ping. That's me done. Lovely to be here.
Brilliant. Thanks, Philip. Thanks, everyone. Okay, so there's a link in the chat. I'll just repost it for any people that missed that. That's the sort of notepad with the agenda for the session. And there's a link in there to a slide deck as well, which we're going to work through as we go. So I'm just going to, before we kick into that, I just want to ask Philip if you can give us the briefest of updates on the sort of overview of the collective, as you normally do, Philip. Hello, Philip. No, are we not going to do that? I think we might have a...
Before he gets going, maybe we want to talk about the agenda, give an overview here, Graham.
Yeah, okay.
Did we hear from everyone that wanted to be heard from? John Grant?
Yeah, I believe so, Jim. I think everyone had an opportunity there.
Okay, I'm sorry.
No worries, no worries. Okay. So we're going to ask Philip to do a quick state of the collective, couple of minutes from his London cafe, and then pass over to Joaquin, who's going to give us a short piece on the state of play in terms of transition and our forward strategy. And then we're going to be looking at a number of different projects that we've been working on within the collective over the last few months. And then just to finish off with a little bit on the membership and any last minute AOB items and a closeout. Okay, so if anyone's got anything they want to add to that, then stick your hand up or sort of make yourself known on that issue, and we can squeeze you into any other business. Otherwise, we'll push on. Okay. So, who's with us now? So, Philip, are you able now to give us a quick overview on state of the collective? Or have you, I think he might have gone altogether now. Has he gone?
We can come back to that if he pops.
I'll come back to that later if we can regain Philip. So we'll move on to Joaquin in that case.
All right. So what happened in the collective? You might have noticed there were a couple of discussions. We started in the last general meeting, actually, on our bigger transition. May I ask everyone to mute so we don't get interference there? Thank you. So we talked about a new model in the last meeting called CAS. So CAS stands for Cooperation as a Service. And we started over here, with Tech We Trust, the collective, the co-op we formed, and split into many of these interest groups that you see running in Mattermost now, and reached out to a lot of folks out there to tell them what we're doing, right? So there have been a lot of exciting conversations. Now with CAS, we move into a transitional mode, which is just to say, instead of this is the only thing that we have here, we have a multitude of organizations now interested in joining us to see what we're doing, to experience what we're doing, to use the tool sets and to use the protocols that we've developed over time now. So what we see happening now is the Digital Life Collective becomes one of many, right? It becomes really a sort of a meta collective. And we have other organizations with their own entity, with their own boundaries, joining us, but joining us in a space that's still what Christina likes to call the adjacent possible. So this is a larger playground now where we get to know other organizations. They are like-minded. They are very much aligned with what we're doing here. And you will see a few of those listed, and we talk about those in other slides. But they're all very much aligned, and they help us to sort of explore what we're doing. We help them to explore what we, to show them what we've been doing in the past and where we're heading and where we're taking this. So that's where we are with the collective. Notice in 2020, let me move this over so you can see that here. So next year, the idea is to take that even a step further. This is actually a cybernetic construct called meta system transition. And the idea is to actually say, hey, now we have a solid framework, we have a socio-technical platform. Now we can start to replicate this whole thing and offer that as a service to other organizations who might not be, closely aligned, who might use this on their own. So we're now looking at a whole transition for 2020 where CAS is still there, but there's another thing up there. I labeled it CAS plus DAO, and I have a slide for that. It's a new entity. We don't know how that looks like yet, but it's very exciting for me to see that yet going up even another meta layer. So we'll see how that plays out. But the focus right now obviously is in building out our CAS services and then working with the DAO Alliance that Jim mentioned and Gary, that we get going on that piece. So with that, let me move on to CAS and DAO. So we've been playing in this ground here. You see this bluish triangle here called interactions. So if you see this as a kind of a timeline where you move from thought to finish, you do something, you start, you get something at the other end, be that a service, a product, whatever it is that you create and co-create with others, right? We recognize we're supporting a lot of these interactions here by giving the right tools, Kanban boards, chatting tools, visualizations, whatever it is. So really enrich the social interactions in that space. And crystallizing also these social objects. So that can be anything like this presentation here, or a channel, or a document that you're co-creating and working on. So working on these right aspects of getting things moving forward, right? Towards a point where we realize at some point, we need some more formal roles or acknowledgement of roles in a certain project. Now, that doesn't apply for all of the activities in the collective. In fact, most of the collective activities in the collective will go on as they are today. So lots of things happening in the interest groups, a lot of things happening in the main channel there, and the Zoom calls that we have. But this is to say, at some point, there may be more dedicated groups. The notion of work teams, really, right? That are trying to create something, co-create something. And for that, we're starting to do this CAS and DAO combination. So it's kind of the glue or point between interactions and transactions. So the whole transaction space is new to us. So all these doing a lot of prototyping, a lot of learning in our space. For our members, we have about, I think, 250 members. Philip will correct me there. I'm not sure if that's the latest. But it's a solid community. We have great members and good conversations here. But now we're thinking about moving some of these things further out. And further out means either growing, sustaining what we've been doing, replicating our model and maintaining that in other places, what I mentioned earlier. Becoming more serious about publishing and promotion of certain pieces, right? Creating web presence and creating courses and some other kind of outreach. Or going down here into R&D labs and maker spaces. So with the discovery and experimentation down here. So with this, you can see that obviously then at the moment you do this expansion, you need some more solid roles to say, yes, there's a sysadmin person. Yes, there's a graphics designer on board. Yes, there's a front-end developer on board, right? And that person will eventually get compensated, right? How does the compensation scheme work? And for that, we're now really deep into exploring the relationship between DAO and the CAS, the relationship between the interactional model and the transactional thing that's coming with the DAO. Really to say this is a way to expand our services here, right? So this is how we get to the edges here and create something new. Starting obviously with the DAO Alliance and the different CAS groups that we're starting to onboard here. So I'm really excited about this model and see where we take that. But let's move on for now and have others talk about the other initiatives that we're going through, the other groups that we're starting to onboard now using our CAS model. And then I'll come back to that again to say a little bit more about the DAO Alliance. Okay. Handing over to Christina if you're there, or if Philip, if you're back, if you have a better connection.
Philip, go ahead.
Thanks. Hi, I'll keep it brief because obviously my network operator is struggling. I did have an agenda item to provide an update on the state of the collective, given that I'm on a dodgy connection in a cafe playing background music. I will keep it short. As secretary of the Digital Life Collective, I can assure everybody that we're trading legally. We have reserves to cover our current expenses. And so from a fiduciary perspective, I think that's probably the best news I can impart, other than to share my general excitement for everything that's being covered in the stack. At that point, I shall hand over to Christina.
Thank you, Philip. So one of our first trial organizations is the Capra course. Can you go back to that slide? Friedrich Capra wrote a book called The Systems View of Life, runs a course on teaching it. He also has the Eco-Literacy Institute in Berkeley. And if you take the course, you're then invited to become part of the alumni community, which is looking at using the CAS spaces. If you're curious about that, you can find out more details about how we implement a team for CAS, what the steps are, by opening the worksheet. And when we show the new website, you'll see the slide that can get you to the Capra course page link. Next slide. Social Roots is interested in engaging community around the platform that we're building. This is the team that I'm working with, but we're not ready yet, so we just have a placeholder slide that says get in touch. We are building a discovery tool for ecologically effective projects. Next.
I've got a question there, Christina, before you jump into that one.
Sure.
So when you say worksheet here, you've got links to worksheets. What are they?
That's just the notepad that is the working document that has the steps which we do, so you can see what you can see what it takes to roll out a CAS team, for example. You can, there you go. Thank you. That's cool. The worksheet. And you can see who's responsible for what, you know, if it's in just a preparatory phase or if it's active or whatnot.
Excellent, thank you. Sorry to butt in.
And in the next week or two, Kayala and I will be getting together. If anybody is interested, I definitely need help being able to spin up these teams, create a worksheet like that. Maybe even get into the development of a form via Civi CRM WordPress. So if anybody would like to help, please get in touch. Yes. So near and dear to my heart, since I was able to work with the team on the Blue Carbon chapter, which is the first chapter of the Spaceship Earth project, the Bucky Fuller Institute has as Rui pointed out at the beginning, is celebrating the 50th anniversary of the death of Buckminster Fuller, who wrote the operating manual for Spaceship Earth by putting out something called the Cooperating Manual for Spaceship Earth, which they envision as a dynamic, growing, cooperating tool, not just a book, although they will do publications periodically. SpaceshipEarth.live is the site. And again, when we show you the site for Dig Life, they have a slide that goes to that. And we are setting up a cast space for them. Interplanet World, you can see, is a carbon tracker technology. They call it Fitbit for the Earth. And they are just launching this weekend. And so we have hurried up and gotten a team space together for them. And we'll be tying in the portal functionality later on. There's actually a few other groups that are in the offing, but these are the ones that made it into the slide deck today. I can't keep up.
Thanks, Christina. Do you want to talk about some other initiatives you're doing while you're here?
So the Sense Compass team is coming together, incorporating as a Washington Limited Cooperative Association. Once that is done, we will propose to the Dig Life board to basically have a doing business as, so that we can, if people find our work through CAS or through the collective, we can operate as the Dig Life Maps team. I think that it's important for people to understand that we're not building CAS for us to give services. Just like this is, if a group, let's say Interplanet or Spaceship Earth or whatever, has services that work in the CAS ecosystem, that people can figure out ways to make that visible and bring that work into the CAS modules, which a given group could power up or not. A recent conversation that was very exciting was with the human systems folks. So we're just beginning to explore their models on looking at values alignment rather than goals alignment. So it's much easier for people to talk about goals with specificity than it is with values. As you're doing whatever you're doing here with Cloud Run, it's reminding me we do also have adjacent to CAS, we have a publish platform for our members. So we encourage anybody who's a member to ping us in the help desk if you would like, and get your profile up in a public place where people can find you and your website. You can then also use it to publish. And we will be working towards being able to have sort of an open publication where you can find work by the Capra course or Spaceship Earth communities or whatnot. Philip is also catalyzing a group for generative identity and the exploration of that, a working group for that. And that's another of the CAS teams. We will have a page on our website that will showcase the new
Oh, I think you're breaking up, Christina.
Can you hear me now?
Oh, yeah.
I think that's all. Did I miss anything, Joachim?
No, I think that's it. That sounds great. And I thought I'm busy. Whoa, you have so much on.
And you have 25 clones to help you.
Wow, unbelievable. Okay, thank you, Christina. So I promised you a slide on this DAO alliance, right? So real quick, so this is about a tool set around something called Haifa DAO. So a bunch of folks have created a platform called Haifa for smart contracts and for role creation and for wallet maintenance. And they've seen the stuff we've been doing with CAS. They've seen the visualizations, with the hold-ons and with the network graphs and the card-based interface. Liked that a lot and thought, okay, maybe we can partner here and bring some of that functionality into this HiFi DAO. Call it portal. I'm not sure what the name is going to be, but it's a place where you go to then actually define more concretely your structure, your role, your wallet, your compensation, your value flows, really. So this is really about value flows, starting to use some type of a cryptocurrency, right? They've been starting to do that with a currency called Seeds. You can learn about this by going to join seeds. Is it .com? I think joinseeds.com or .org. And you'll see there's a fantastic presentation there on the future of this Seeds currency. And that's going to be one currency of many. So what the vision is for the HiFi platform is that you can bring over a lot of players into sort of a meta platform, a meta collective. So if that sounds familiar, well, that's exactly what we've been doing, right? So creating a meta collective in the interaction space, right, with CAS. Now we want to do the same thing over in the financial transaction space, where you also can arrange and onboard entire organizations, right? So entire groups, collectives, co-ops, whatever that is, into that space. And that's the important piece, is still maintain the connection between all of the different players, right? Still have this adjacent possible. And for that, I'm taking on a role over on their side to build that thing, right? Bringing over some of the front-end pieces that I've developed with our portal, and see how that applies to that and how we can eventually sort of merge both the interaction and the transaction, into one sort of global space and invite other members, other organizations into that space. So they have both, tools available that's coming out of, the screen I showed you earlier with Cloudon. These are all the different applications that we have on the Cloudon platform. So each of these organizations could play and choose, what they need for their needs, to solve their problems. Hopefully that's rich enough for them to say, yes, we can go forward with that and use that kind of platform. But also, and that's the importance here of this DAO Alliance, is to anchor this work in concrete roles, right? In a structure that says, okay, now we have formed a real circle, a real work team here, and we have responsibilities in that circle. We define those, and then we define also compensation schemes and value flows in that platform. So a lot of good stuff is happening here. We have Jim on board here. Michael is on board to look at community currencies, how these flows are becoming more circular in all of the participating organizations, right? We have two development shops here, Digital Scarcity and Good Block. They're affiliated with Telos. So Telos is sort of the blockchain backend. They are a fork from the EOS Alliance. EOS is another big blockchain provider. They had some issues in the past, and then someone decided to fork it over to another blockchain. So that became Telos, which is a third generation blockchain. And that's where the HiFi platform is going to be built on top of that. So there's a whole thing of connections going on here. It's really hard to keep track of all this. I'm trying to get my hands around this stuff for a few days now since we started. It's really hard to see all the players here, right? So there's, but for now, so there's Join, there's HiFi, there's Telos here, three players that are closely connected and aligned. And we are now in that space. We've started to create a domain for them on our server, so they have access to the tool sets that we've been using, so we can start communicating in better and richer ways, right? And now Jim has been doing a lot of good work there to set up the different channels and set up the different tool sets. We're going to use the social ledger, of course, too, the version 1 to enrich that conversation. But it's more important now to look forward, to see, okay, that DAO plus CAS, what's that going to look like, right? What kind of platform functionality are we going to bring over and enable this playground, connecting to the transactional side of things. So I'm really excited about this.
Let me say
there's
a little bit
yeah.
about the excitement quickly here because everyone's excited because of all the awesome things Joachim has developed in the portal that is a self-sovereign stack of interfacing to our tools. But the HIFA, the DAO Alliance is exciting. I mean, people in our chain find it exciting because here are people who want to save the earth and decentralized society are making a real effort to work together. And right now it may be a certain chat system and a certain blockchain that we're using, but we're looking to all interoperate with each other at scale. And people are seeing light at the end of the tunnel of the cooperation at scale, which was an idea Dig Life was focused on starting to happen, or people making it happen. And so when we're talking about the DAO Alliance, we're really talking about the co-creation of the interconnection of us all in the future.
Thanks, Jim. Super. There's more here. If you click on this Open Alliance deck, you will get to a sort of the kickoff meeting. Put together a few slides. One of them you saw with that triangle thingy, right? To set the context really for this relationship, for this alliance. And then got into some concrete next steps there. You can see how that plays out. So there's going to be a lot of work in this space, and hopefully we'll get something going. Actually, pretty fast, because they want to see early MVPs by mid-November, December-ish, right? And then really get going early next year to launch this and to make that available to other parties out there. So really cool stuff. Let's move on. Yes, the website. Who's doing that, Christina or?
Sure. Just let me know if my voice doesn't come through stably.
Your voice is very clear, Christina.
Great. So I don't think it's quite at diglife.com, but maybe by the end of the day, magic magicians with magic wands. You can see it now live at test.diglife.com.
Would you like me to set that right now? Change that now?
Maybe not live right now, but maybe during the happy hour we could do that. Don't worry about it immediately, Jem. But anybody who wants to see it live can go to test.diglife.com at the moment. I'm sure that will just redirect to diglife.com once it's live. We're excited. We would still like to work with a branding designer, so nothing is, it's not all perfect. Joachim, can you actually show the live site instead of the slide, or?
Sure.
Yeah.
Is that linked here?
No, that's the old one. Just go to test.diglife.
Okay. Yeah, let me go there.
There we go. So as you can see, we've split out the activate CAS to be the first button, and all of the tech we trust and the stuff that we were drawing people to join the collective as individual members is there. We're sort of talking about that more as Dig Life and the collective and CAS. So the collective becomes the term for the meta collective, and Dig Life is at the same level as everybody else. So if you go to the Activate CAS page, you can see the slides. This little slide deck down below, you can flip through, you can go ahead and sign up for the course. You can find about the generative identity working group. You can find out about Spaceship Earth and the cooperating manual. Those learn more links will change depending on when they make their forms public, or they will stay. Like Social Roots isn't ready at all, so we just have a get notified email. Whereas the CAPRA course, you have to take the course first. So whatever the membrane that the group decides is defined by where that button goes. I've listed this as, if you scroll down a bit, just describing it as a private beta right now, so that until we have a few people helping me, I don't get totally overwhelmed. But eventually we will have this able to click, and then you can like get your cast team started in a little bit more fluid, instant gratification kind of a way. We also, for anybody who's watching this, who's just a Dig Life member and uninterested in CAS and more interested in Tech We Trust, we now have the member orientation space that has some resources there. And there's a whole onboarding thing if you haven't found that. As soon as CAS is up and kind of running and the website is launched and all of that, I'm really eager to support members making the work that they're doing visible to other members. To do that, Joachim, can you go to publish dot? I think if you click on members, it'll actually take you there. If you click on under the member orientation menu. If you click on members and member posts, it'll take you there. Also, if you're not a collective ambassador, definitely see that collective ambassador post. So here's the space that is still getting ready. But if you click on members there, this is where members can find each other. Even if you never publish anything, it's great to have a profile here. If you want it now, you can just DM me here in the Zoom chat or in the Mattermost and or in our help desk and let us know your email and we'll put you there. This allows you to have a publish place for your posts, and eventually could be a place where groups could publish stuff too. So there's a lot going on with the new version of Ghost as well. I think that's it. Back to the slide deck.
Thanks, Christina. Okay. So, yeah, wow, there's a lot going on, isn't there? I'm quite, as you say, Joaquin, yeah, people have been really busy. Yeah, so one of the bits of glue that we're using to sort of tie all these various elements together is a CRM system. We're using City CRM, which is an open source tool to help us manage some of this stuff. And I've been implementing that. So I just want to say just a couple of words on that. I can see that we're running into the last 15 minutes. So it's just, it enables us to manage memberships, and we're going to be going out very soon now to encourage everyone to renew their membership using this system. So you'll be getting an email if your membership's due for renewal. It's quite a nifty little system. So we can send you a link in an email which is personalized. That'll take you to the renewal form, which will recognize you and tell you what the state of play is with your membership and enable you to quickly renew that. So it's very straightforward from the user's point of view. No complex forms to fill in or anything like that. So hopefully, yeah, we'll be rolling that out in the next couple of weeks. Having said that, at various general meetings now over the course of the year, I think we're now finally ready to go live with that. So I'm pleased with that. So if your membership's only sort of just expired, it'll just sort of roll on as you renew. If you're one of the people that signed up right at the beginning and your membership will have notionally expired some while back, and we just allowed that to roll on while we get a technology act together on that. So that'll just give you a new membership essentially, with a bit of a gap in there. So, but it's very straightforward, and you'll soon see more about that and we're using this system to help each of these new sort of organisations that are coming in as partners into our expanding Meta Collective, so that we can easily give each of them a sign-up page to enable their people to register with us and make their payments. And we can keep all that under control and clearly managed, which is great. So we're saving a lot of time and energy with that. That's it for me on that one. What's next, Joaquin? You're in control of the deck there. Okay. Have we got someone to talk to this one?
Yeah, that's Gary. Gary, are you there?
Yes, sorry. Okay, the collab is a joint venture between DigLife and RChain, and we set up a Discord server, and the main projects we have going over there right now are our Mac Robot project, which is a Rolang interpreter on wheels, and we have many different weekly Zoom sessions, consensus. These are, and computational calculi are a little bit more technical, but we also have a DApp developers working group, our Art on the Blockchain working group that I mentioned in my introduction. And we have many open learning and open working group sessions. And there's something for everybody there. So please join in with us in the collab, and you can find that in one of our domains. And that will get you a link to the Discord platform if you want to join over there as well. So.
Yeah, and we're connected with the open learning domain in DigLife, where we try to have work studies where we get something done rather than just learn about it. We pool our knowledge and we learn what we need to learn to get something done.
Cool.
And we have research groups in consensus systems and computational calculus. Really an incubator for any kind of activity.
Great. Thanks, Jim. Thanks, Gary. On to Michael.
An incubator for cooperative activity. Cooperation, we hear a lot about it. Like peace, world peace. Let's have some cooperation around here. Unfortunately, our world is consistently driven by competitive money. So trying to cooperate with that money is like trying to hold a peaceful conference with machetes and all that sort of stuff. We live in a violent world. The money is violent. The money is centralized. We have it within our capacities to do it ourselves. So I'm presently waiting for a permanent solid site because I don't want people joining in and then being asked to re-engage in a rerun. So pending that solid site, which may be there in a few days, we'll be announcing the opening of the college. Come and get your money. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks, Michael. Okay, that's the end of the slide deck. Is anyone else here want to say a few words about a project that we're involved in? We've got a couple of minutes.
I'd love to give the floor to James, because I know that if he's willing, that he got to talk to Joachim a little bit, but I haven't gotten to hear about it. I'm sure other people would like to.
Can we tempt you, James, to say a couple of words?
Yeah, sure. So yeah, I'm involved in a project called WeCo, which is an open source platform co-op social network we've been developing for a little while. And yeah, if you want to check it out, it's weco.io. We're just about to do a massive update. So there's like the UI, there's a few bugs in there and stuff. But yeah, we've got a lot of similar ideas and philosophy to the people here. So yeah, I would love, at some point, I'll prepare a proper presentation where I can go through more of the ideas. But there's a load of different features on the platform that people might be interested in. A lot of the theme is kind of collective intelligence. So finding ways to enable groups to self-organize, share information more effectively, and collaborate in different ways. But yeah, I'll prepare a presentation at some point and would be happy to share more about it with you guys.
That would be great. Thank you very much.
Fantastic.
Yeah. Anyone else care to say a few words? Robert, anything you'd like to say about open learning, or?
Or you mentioned you had some questions. So if you wanted to pose questions, we may not be able to get into them, but you could think about them.
Muted.
Muted.
There we go. Yeah, I guess in context of sort of all this recent change and stuff we've seen today, yeah, I guess for Open Learning Commons, it sort of has been what we've called maybe sort of an experiment or something. We were trying out different tools and things. So over the last weeks, and so it's had, I don't know, I guess we've realized that more so than a box of, say, collaboration tools, that the human sort of facilitation and things on that level is actually on some level, the more important thing, to have the liveliness in the space. So if anyone's been sort of following the open learning space, it's been a little quiet lately. So a bunch of us have sort of, not exactly shift gears, but like haven't been putting our attention there so closely. So you'll notice we haven't opted in for the CAS stuff just yet, although it wasn't meant to be sort of a permanent decision. I don't know. So lots of talk still happening there. I've been currently looking also at currency stuff, so which seems to have been a theme of this call. So participating in a currency design workshop and thinking about how, yeah, that sort of stuff can interweave and sort of energize a community of practice. Or I don't know. I'm sort of rambling now, so I don't know if that touched on any.
Okay, thanks very much, Bill. Yeah, it just sort of got me thinking about whether there might be scope to do something around mutual credit internally within the sort of network of networks that we're developing today.
Yes.
As opposed to crypto, potentially. Might be a bit simpler to implement, who knows?
Yes.
Not as opposed to crypto, as conjunct. It's a conjugal relationship. It's like a marriage between orthogonals. So let's have them both, please. Mutual credit and the hard stuff.
Okay, cool. I'm up for that. Okay,
David,
so go on.
I was just going to ask David, since you've been gone, would you like to say anything about ISSS or anything that is up for you?
I haven't actually heard from them, and so I've been kind of waiting to see what happens with CAS, and so I'll have to re-engage. I have this thing where I'm not a current president, and so I am a past president, and so I suggested that I open, but the ball's in their court.
Okay, thanks, David. Okay, so I think I just want to say a couple of things briefly, just to add to what I mentioned there about membership. So what we've agreed, I think, is for the Digital Life Collective, the membership fee is going to be carrying on at $10 per person per year. So that's what the bill's going to be, and yeah, so there'll be an annual renewal process. So we're using Stripe as a payment processor. So when you come to do that, you can opt in to get Stripe to automatically do the recharge thing each year, I think. So that should look after itself until your card runs out of date. So that's happening. And that sort of brings us up to the end of the formal agenda. We've got a couple of minutes left for any AOB items that anyone wants to bring forward. So stick your hand up if you want to do something on that. Anything comes to mind. Otherwise, we'll just jump into a quick closing round if people want to do that. Yeah. I'll start. I think, yeah, that's been an interesting session for me. I think I've learned, always learn stuff in these calls, and this has been no exception. There's been some good stuff. I think we're making some real advances now on a number of areas, and I'm looking forward to what's coming next down the road. So thanks for that.
Can I, before you pass it, can I ask that people give in the quick closing round one thing as a member you would like from the collective? That would be really helpful for member relations.
One thing you'd like, $100 a week for the rest of my life.
And maybe you, I don't know, do we want something you would like from the collective and something you might offer to the collective?
You're getting complex now, Jim.
Getting too much.
Okay. I think lots of people offer a lot, and that's easy.
Okay.
Given our limited resources, where would you like the member relations team to really support the members as members?
Who wants to jump in?
Oh, I'll jump in and say I would like to see from the collective a token system based on mutual credit internally that we can use.
Yeah, I think we could actually do that, couldn't we? We could actually really do that within the next 3 months. Why not?
Start in the next 3 days.
Are you volunteering, Michael, to set up?
I'm always volunteering. I'm a perpetual volunteer. Yeah, it's subject to the persistence of the server installation. We can open playground for mutual credit inside the collective. Well, we could do it today, but I can't assure you that the same sign-in would work next week. But in a few days, we should be able to. So 3 months, absolutely. Thank you, Graham. 3 months.
Great. Look forward to that. Thanks, Gary. Thanks, Michael. I'll pass across now to Rui. If he's still around. Are you there, Rui? Yeah?
Yes, I am. Thank you. I'm just conserving my bandwidth. It's nearing its end. My video, internet bandwidth. So it's been great. I wasn't aware of what's going on from Mattermost, because I usually just go and watch what's going on Mattermost, and a lot more is going on, and that is amazing, and I was very, very much impressed. And thank you very much. Very, very rewarding this hour. Thank you.
Thank you. Who's next? Kayala.
Okay, yeah, maybe I'll follow on what Rui was just sharing, that, yeah, having it be more visible, what everybody is working on, and then ways to participate more. So, you know, maybe this will be part of how the DAO cast type of space emerges, or the social ledger integration in terms of roles that are available, or things that, or end up a place to propose roles or ways to do that. I feel like more of the way to engage that way. And I know I already have some follow-up steps on that with around casts and with Christina. So, but sensing into how that would support other members that are maybe not even here at the meeting, and also, you know, might only be following through Mattermost, and they might not be getting, some of that connection that they could. So Thanks for that invitation. And I'll pass it over to Gary.
I'll pass it to Stacy.
I think the space I'd like to see is what Kayla was just mentioning. And for me, I personally wish there was almost like a buddy system, you know, where with more than one buddy there to, I mean, I've been lucky enough to have certain people like you, Gary, who reach out and let me know about something I may not be aware of. I like that idea a lot. Oh, I'll pass it to, is there somebody that, Robert?
Sure, I can go. Actually, not much came to mind in terms of asking for more. I was actually thinking the flip side that I could be making a whole lot more effective use of what's already there, already sort of available. And so, yeah, the only thing maybe something like curation or sort of summaries or announcements, but I know that's already happening too. So yeah, I don't really have much to request. Not sure hasn't gone. Maybe Joaquin.
Sure. Thanks, Robert. So I'd love to see, some of the new member funds flowing into our experimental space, right? I still see this as a big sandbox where we can try out new things. And you saw this Cloud Run thing before, right? It has over 100 different applications. So rather than saying we have a prescribed set of 4 or 5 apps that everybody has to use, I want to make that much more experimental. So anybody who wants to start up a new tool set, given that we have some more funds now, we can of course add some server capacity, right? And then make that space much, much bigger and play with these new technology. So very much a prototyping space. But then looking forward with the DAO Alliance, and that goes to what Keala said and Stacy, I do want to see a place where I can identify myself with new roles or even propose new roles for certain projects that eventually generate some kind of a currency. And I know token-based is a good way forward. And I'm just learning about all the different types of tokens that are actually out there, equity tokens, community tokens, all kinds of things. And that there can be a multitude of tokens, even per project, right? It's a fascinating space to explore and how that ties into mutual credit systems too. So very much looking forward for this new, bigger playground we're all involved in now and see where we take it. All right, who hasn't talked? Let me see. If John, you want to say some words? John, if you're still there?
I don't see him anymore.
No? Okay. Either you, Christina, or Philip. Philip's still. Oh, Steve. How's Steve?
Yeah, no, I think what Keala and Stacey have said has been a long-standing issue about knowing how to better engage with everything that's going on. And part of the problem is there's so many interesting things going on, but if you dip into one, you can get consumed in that, and then you can't switch. And as the scope of what we're doing keeps increasing, there's more and more interesting things. So you end up spreading thinner and thinner and not actually contributing significantly to a lot. So we need to think about how to almost funnel people into the places where they can make the most contribution. So maybe rather than asking the collective for ways to contribute, maybe a start is also around the profiles to build up what people see as their strengths, so we can actually maybe match strengths with requirements, and also maybe time availability and things like that. And I will hand over to David.
I'm just catching up again, like Robert, to the tools that we already have, and so we really need to use them more content, and so still catching up. Has Mike spoken?
No, I haven't spoken yet. Yeah, I was just learning here. It's been great to see these new tools. I think it's incredible. You know, I have had my own projects and companies going on prior to joining the collective here. So I'm waiting to see. I mean, some stuff is kind of touching on some things I've been working on already. I did have I'm a part of a blockchain company. I'm a general partner. But one of the guys came up with a 93-page white paper for pre-ICO. I put it on the chat there. It's called AO.network. I understand about 30% of it. So I don't know if you guys want to look through it, but the gist that I get is that when you're talking about inclusivity and diversity, I think what he's trying to get at, my business partner, who's actually leading the company, is the very foundation of human thought and ideas and how that should be monetized versus other ways. So he's getting at the very kernel of human contribution that everybody should get paid for that. So you might want to look at that. That does touch on what maybe what some of these things you've been talking about already. Other than that, I mean, money would be good. Trying to eventually someone's going to have to be a breadwinner and bring in money for all this stuff. Collaboration only goes so far. Or, I think it's great the group's reaching out to other companies and entities out there that are doing things that could relate to what you're doing as far as gas. That's amazing. So, yeah, just wait to see what everything transpires. Thank you. Let's see. How about Christina? Have you done yet?
Thanks, Mike. One thing that I am very excited now that we have a new website, maybe we have people a little less confused. Maybe there's less obstacles to really reaching out and inviting our own networks to have an inclusion month where everybody invites people different from themselves. Y'all are wonderful, and there's 2 women and very little color on this call. So we come from already a very diverse set of economic backgrounds and mindsets and whatnot. Reach out to people who are different from yourselves as you get close, and please do check out the new Digital Life Collective Ambassadors protocol. It's really easy. It's really just link to us so we're visible on your social media spaces. Thanks. I will pass it to Robert. No, you checked out. Who didn't check out?
I think we're done, actually. I don't know.
All right,
Michael?
there you go.
Jim? Prevailing theme is many tools make light work. And the toolkit's propagating vastly and beautifully. I'm very excited at what you guys are producing. I think it is the go forth and multiply space now. We've got the gear. Let's go.
Yeah, I think it's a good point to end on, actually. Yeah. Okay, we're well over the hour, so I'm going to wrap it up there, I think. Thank you all for taking the time and getting involved. It's been great to listen to different perspectives and find out a bit about what people are doing. So do take some time, get involved, and we'll see you on in the collective.
And if we could stop the recording, we do have a happy hour. So anybody who wants help setting up their member page or questions as a member or whatever, I'm here for the next 15 minutes.